Welcome back to the Green Means Go channel, and boy, do I love the Chiefs. I'm sick. I have a lot of thoughts right now, and I don't have time to edit this video. My dogs are at the groomer. My daughter is right here drinking some milk and some water, double fisting it with the beverages this morning, watching some Minnie's Bow tunes. I just don't have time to edit this video in the way that I would like. So we're going to run through this as raw as possible. And I'm going to air my grievances and I'm going to voice my complaints. And I realize that this sounds, oh, hey, he's a hater. Oh, he can't appreciate greatness that's before him. Oh, some people are just so miserable that they have to find the negatives in everything. I just know. Like, if you point out flaws, repeated flaws in a system, it does not make you a hater. It does not make you too bitter to appreciate greatness. This is something, and we know what it is just by the picture in this photo. I don't have to spell it out for you guys. You know what I'm going to talk about in this video. We don't have to ignore it. We have the ability to hold the NFL accountable, and I think people are, because all of these things were from Twitter. Everything I'm going to show you today was Twitter's outrage. I'm going to give you my opinion on all the plays, all the calls. We're going to talk about it, give my final analysis of the Chiefs this year, and we're going to move on. Now, one of my friends said this morning, and I just moved that because I'm a moron. Why wouldn't I move that? Why would I move my face? Why wouldn't I just move the whole picture out of the way? He says, if you go looking for ghosts, you're likely to start hearing voices. In other words, you are going to uncover what you seek to discover. Oh, that's a bar. That's a bar I just came up with off the top of my head. If you look for the plays in which the Chiefs benefited from suspect calls, you're going to find them. It doesn't mean they're real. Here is what I have decided is a better phrase. If you ignore the elephant in the room, you're likely to get stomped to death. It's obvious now what is happening. There is no more room for, well, maybe. We've seen it this year repeatedly. We saw it last year in the playoffs. We keep seeing the Chiefs be beneficiaries of the calls, especially the big ones, the pass interferences, the personal fouls, the roughing the passers, the 15-yarders, and we see them in the fourth quarter get the benefit of the doubt more than any other team, in such a way that the public is concerned and vocalizing that concern. That does not mean we are taking away from greatness. In fact, I think it's the opposite. I think it means we want to see greatness from these players. We want Josh Allen's fourth down run and ultimate first down, which we will talk about, to be counted fairly, to be judged fairly. We don't want to see the elephants in the room make the decisions time after time. So let's talk about it. Let's run through some clips. These were Twitter's most egregious errors of the game. I'll give my opinion on them, and we will have a good time. So this is the call. Keep in mind, an important piece is there are 2 minutes and 36 seconds left in the half, and this was a 25, 30-yard play that bumped the Chiefs up next to the goal line when they were kind of on the edge of field goal range, right? This is a massive play in the game. So this was originally called a catch on the field, which is very important because this is a repeated issue that we have seen where you give the Chiefs the benefit of the doubt, so that way when it goes to review and it's too hard to tell, you can't change the call. The call on the field stands. They don't call this incomplete on the field, which is a key piece. So we see the defender come up, grab the ball, and if you watch, Xavier Worthy's one hand is right here, which means his other hand is right up here, and the defender has two hands in on it. So we see him, and he has a red sleeve on, okay? His hand right now is on top of the ball, just like that. The defender's arm is under it, and you're going to see the ball hit the ground, right? Now, what's tricky about this is the ball doesn't move. And I think had the ball jiggled more, they would have called it incomplete. But because it was so close, and I would argue the ball gets pinned on the ground, which we know from Des Bryant in his NFC North game against the Bears, the Packers, can't remember which one, Des caught it. Same idea where the ball hits the ground. Did he have possession? Did he not? The ball doesn't move again, so that's pretty impressive. Defender has it. Ball is coming down towards the ground. And who is keeping it? This is what's fascinating to me, and this is an argument that could be made. The defender is the one obtaining the possession right here, right? His hand is over the front of the ball, securing the ball as it hits the ground. So My argument in some respects is that the defender has the possession of the ball and the defender is down. Now, some may say that since Xavier Worthy's arm is also playing into it and they have joint possession, in the case of joint possession, the offense retains possession. And in that case, then fine, the call was right. I think truly, and if you want me to, again, here's a better angle maybe. His other hand comes up, but it's just so difficult to tell whose hand is whose. Is that white glove actually Xavier Worthy's? Maybe that white glove was Xavier Worthy's and I'm completely wrong. If that's the case, then maybe we're okay with the catch. Yeah, maybe the defender actually had the red gloves on. Okay. And the more I look at this, it's actually just, the defender has the red gloves. That's actually Xavier Worthy's hand on top there. Okay, so I don't love it. I don't like that it hit the ground, but in some ways I can see why this play gets upheld. So I realize this video is not going the direction you thought it was, and it's not going the direction I thought it was. Since they called it a catch on the field, I am okay with it staying a catch on the field. As crazy as that sounds, I can see an argument had they overturned it where it would have been incomplete. But since Xavier Worthy's hand is the one on top, he has possession. The ball hits the ground, but it doesn't move. I'll actually give them credit for that. Fine catch. Fine catch. There you go. You want me to not be a hater? There it is. I think that catch by the book is okay. Let's look at another one. This was actually the kickoff return that preceded that play. This is how they got down into field goal range. The complaint from this are multiple block in the backs and holding calls. We'll break it down for you. He catches it. First of all, this guy has to make the tackle. If we don't want to make excuses for the refs here, let's make the tackle. Missed tackle. Okay? You can see hands on the back. What happens? He lays off. Great. You can see the next guy right up here. Watch 33. Sorry. I'm going to rewind it a second. It's going to be this right here. Now, look. 88 right here. He lays off a little bit. I would say that's probably fine. There's some holding going on right here with 2, but it's so far out of the play, I can see why they don't call it, right? Like that's questionable. If we look at a block in the back on this right here, we rewind it a second, on 56, he more stumbles. So I wouldn't even call that a block in the back. Right here, a little bit of a grab on the shoulder. A little bit of a grab on 24 on the shoulder here. Slow him down. Not too egregious. So this one, a lot of people got upset about this. I'm going to side with the Chiefs here. There wasn't anything so blatantly wrong where I felt like a flag needed to be thrown. We see that kind of ticky-tack business happen every week. So far, Chiefs, you got the benefit of that out twice. So we'll see. But when we start getting into this is where I find some room for conversation. And let me move my little heart head up here. Maybe I'll make myself a little bigger with love for the Chiefs. Let's watch this one first. This is Josh Allen, 4th down play that determined the game. I don't want to say that, but this determined the game. So this clip already has the line drawn, so to speak, and we'll watch the head judge. Okay, so there's Josh Allen. We can assume the ball is right there. Not quite got it yet, I wouldn't say. There's the ball right there. It looks okay. Yeah, see, at that point, this is the farthest it gets, and we can probably assume, and that's the problem, we have to make assumptions that ball crosses the line. It's a perfect storm for the Chiefs. He is in the way. Whoever this is saved the Chiefs from the game. If he is not in the way and the refs can actually see where that ball gets, which in my head is right here, and right here is a first down. That is on the first down. And that's all we get. Now, what's interesting about this, and again, if we go back to what the refs call on the field, is this follow-up. Because you see this ref, who had his back to it, come in and signal the ball's back here, whereas the ref who actually could see it has eyes on where the ball is because he's facing Josh Allen. He marks it or is going to spot it at the first down. He is all the way past the 40-yard line, which signals first down. But then this ref comes in and he moves it back. So this is where we go back to the refs are spotting it most convenient in a way so that after review, if it's not possible to be seen, we can't overturn it. That's where I start to go, Now, the bigger problem is the fact that we are relying on humans to make these calls. And this is where we get into, is the NFL rigged? Is this all being scripted? Does the NFL have an interest in creating opportunities for other teams more than other teams? If you look at the sport of tennis, if you've watched any tennis in the last 3 or 4 years, you know that they have the ability to see where the ball lands to a micrometer, if that's even a measurement, a millimeter, because of the technology. It's because they could not call the game fairly, because humans are capable of errors. Referees on a 30-degree afternoon with 24 bodies in the way, okay, it's 22, bodies in the way, they're standing at 16 paces away, and they're trying to make a call on where a ball is. Guys, this is a billion, with a B, dollar industry. If they wanted to get the calls right, let's do it. There are chips. There are cameras. We can put the technology inside the ball, and we can tell where the ball goes. And if you refuse to do that year after year after year, all that tells me is you want a specific result. And if you don't want the specific result, you at least would love to control the result. If you can't get it naturally, you're going to do everything you can to have power over that result. There is no reason that we should be relying on people standing 25 feet away to walk in and just arbitrarily place the ball down. We're done with that. We have to be done with that. So I think that was a little questionable. This is a weird one. And Gene Steratore talked about it. And he said, if there is an overlap on the clock, wow, this looks ridiculous. Sorry. If there is an overlap on the clock, they give the benefit of the doubt and they let it tick down to the 2-minute warning. So you'll see here, there was a little bit of an overlap, right? So 2:01, 2:01, there is an overlap, but that's going to go to 0. The play clock is going to expire. That's a delay of game. Now, I would argue against this, but I heard the rules analyst, Gene Steratore himself, say, well, if there is an overlap, we give them the benefit of the doubt. So some people are complaining about this on Twitter. I would say, according to Gene Steratore, this is fine, even though it technically was a delay of game. You can see it in full speed, right? There's probably 0.7 of a second. They said it's fine to let that go. Now, it's convenient that it happened to the Chiefs, right? And so everyone's going to throw a flag on the play for them, but I'm going to trust the guy who knows the rule book better than any of us, and Gene Steratore said it was fine, so it's fine. Now, what I want to do is listen to this play, because Gene Steratore discusses this play with Tony Romo, with Jim Nantz. He makes his own call. And again, this was a big call coming down towards the end of the half. The Chiefs had not had a big play yet, okay? So let's listen, watch and listen.
We just talked about he's been a little bit... Gene, you like that call?
Now, you know, Tony, there, you've got a hand on the face mask, but you really don't have grab and a turn on it. I'd like to see them stay off of that one.
Okay, I'd like to see them stay off of that one. You see the hand on the face mask, but you don't really have a grab and a turn. So by the book, that was wrong. And again, if you watch my other video where I talked about this exact same these issues, I said, if the head of the rules is able to speak and say the correct call before the next play is snapped, why are we not fixing it? It makes, it aggravates me so much because it makes no sense. If we have the technology to see a play that was called wrong, and we have the guy in charge, the president of rules, like the rules guy, say, I'd like that to be left alone. That's not a face mask. We just let it happen. That's ridiculous. That's unbelievable in 2025 with the technology we have that is ever occurring. There were some other things. I don't have any more videos. Okay, you can see these type of things every single game. So I'm not saying that this is just it's the Chiefs are getting lucky. This happens every game. There are missed holding calls, but again, this seems pretty blatantly a holding call. I don't know how many holding calls were called against the Chiefs. The Chiefs tend to not get fouls called, penalties called. I forgot to attach one video. There's a video of Travis Kelce coming up and getting in the face of a Bills player, taunting him, mocking him, right? Like arguable taunting. And he ignores him, but his teammate comes over and pushes him. Kelce flops, and the flag is thrown on the Bills guy. It's like that kind of thing is tiring to watch. And you want me to appreciate greatness, but greatness is treated differently than what's deemed not greatness, which is insufferable. It's not fun to watch the game be called in favor of one team. And you may think I'm crazy. You may agree with me. I don't know where you stand on this issue, but it's wild that the New York Post is now, maybe there's some vested interest being at New York, being Buffalo Bills, and maybe that's a thing. But it's interesting to me that the New York Post is posting articles like this last night, or technically this morning. This isn't a one-time thing. Compounding events like this make it more obvious and more frustrating. Hard to fully appreciate Chiefs' greatness when every questionable call goes their way. It is. I don't remember the nuance of Brady's Super Bowl runs. I'm sure he got calls. I'm sure that the Patriots were beneficiaries of 50-50 issues. I'm sure that that was the case. Because in the same way that the Chiefs are a dynasty and can make the league a lot of money, so are the Patriots. So I'm not going to speak on the comparison. Some of you may be able to say, well, yeah, this is the same thing we saw with Brady. Maybe it's worse now because of social media, because of instant replay, because of the ability we have to get online and sort of tunnel vision ourselves into it. I cannot speak on that, but I'm sure Brady got his fair share of calls in the same way that Mahomes is. Last thing I'll say about Mahomes is this, and this is going to fall on deaf ears, and if you are a Mahomes stan, a Mahomes fan, a Mahomes glazer, guzzler, or lover, I would recommend go ahead, if you've made it this far, just click off the video. You don't need to hear what I'm about to say. I'm going to be very careful with how I say this, too, because I know it is an unpopular opinion. I know that it could be taken as a hater report, a hater opinion. I know it can be taken as this guy's just bitter. This guy is negative. This guy's just trying to find things that are wrong. I've said it for over a year. I believe Patrick Mahomes is a good player. We'll start there. I believe he puts his team in positions to win. I believe he avoids making mistakes. But by and large, I believe Patrick Mahomes is a game manager. I believe Patrick Mahomes is what some would call a system QB, but he is in an elite, maybe undisputed, number one system outside of Tom Brady and the New England Patriots in the mid-2000s. He is in the best system that the NFL has ever seen. That system is Andy Reid. That system was Eric Bieniemy before he left. I don't know who's calling the plays for them now, but we'll talk about that in a second. This system is Steve Spagnuolo. The defense was dominant yesterday when they needed to be. Patrick Mahomes is going to get all the credit. When Patrick Mahomes inevitably wins in 2 weeks and beats the Eagles, because he's going to, because that's what the NFL wants. When that happens, there are going to be conversations of GOAT, greatest quarterback to ever play the game, 4 Super Bowl wins, 5 Super Bowl appearances. Like, we're going to hear it. And we're not going to hear about Andy Reid. We might. We're not going to hear about the days that he had with Tyreek Hill, how Travis Kelce has made him. Again, I will say this every time. If you go look at the Kansas City Chiefs right before Patrick Mahomes took over this team, the Kansas City Chiefs had trouble winning playoff games. So if you want to call Patrick Mahomes a winner, fine. Patrick Mahomes is a winner. Alex Smith, a true game manager. Like, there's no debate. Nobody's going to get on here and say Alex Smith wasn't a game manager. Alex Smith had 5,000 passing yards the year before Patrick Mahomes took over this exact same system. Alex Smith was in MVP conversations. And had he won some playoff games, I think he would have been the MVP that year. Look at this chart from yesterday. I think Patrick Mahomes is overrated. And I've said it before. I think you put a handful of other quarterbacks in this system. I think they have the same results. I think Cam Newton, pound for pound, was a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes, and in terms of skill. Now, that's going to be disagreed with. I get it. You can't tell me what I see and what I don't see. But when I look at this chart, this is fascinating because as I watched that game yesterday, I thought, what's this guy? This guy's not making throws that are high level. The green is where the passes were caught in relation to the line of scrimmage. He had 2 passes completed behind the line of scrimmage. Anybody in the entire world that's thrown a pigskin can make that throw, including myself. Anybody can throw a 7-yard screen sideways, okay? The majority of his passes were completed at 5 yards. I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm giving him credit for making for following through with the read. But to some degree, the read or the system is what makes him great. He had 1 pass completion in the middle of the field at 12 yards. That was the only pass he completed out of 18 over 10 yards. And he had 1 that was reviewed. Ultimately, I determined by rule, sure, we'll call it a catch. But Xavier Worthy made the play. It was arguably a bad throw into double coverage. It should have been intercepted. So if we take out this questionable call that should have been intercepted, Patrick Mahomes, statistically, you look at that, 18 and 26, 245, 1 touchdown. Like, that's a pretty good stat line. Like, that's what you want from a game manager. And when you look at this chart, hi, buddy. I'm ranting right now. You want a different one? Okay, we'll change it in a second. We're leaving that in. Okay, this is life. This is life of a stay-at-home dad making a rant video about Patrick Mahomes. Okay? And she'll go to kindergarten soon, and then I'll get on here and I'll get more fired up. So we're not editing it out. We're giving you the raw, uncut look. Patrick Mahomes completed 17 passes yesterday, under 10 yards. He completed 1 for 12 yards. And there's an asterisk by the other. So 16, 1, and 1, I guess, is technically. And I get it. He's doing what he needs to do to win the game. I'm not taking anything away from him, but I get frustrated when people are like, he's the greatest quarterback of all time. Why? Because he's asked to make 7-yard throws all game. He attempted 1, 2, 3, 4 passes out of 26 beyond 15 yards. He is in a phenomenal system. They've found a way that works. That way is to throw short routes, not even intermediate, short routes into fast wide receivers' hands or running backs' hands or tight ends' hands and let them get yards after catch. To me, that's not greatest of all time. And I'll make it big, and I'll say it with my chest, no pun intended, my heart. Patrick Mahomes, to me, is not even close to in the conversation of greatest quarterback of all time. He inherited a silver spoon in his mouth. He inherited a franchise that did nothing but surround him offensively and defensively with the best possible weapons, and that's not his fault. I'm not taking anything away from him. I am just saying that if you throw in nearly any other quarterback that has a little bit of running and scrambling ability and some high IQ for the game, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to win the same rings. I don't think Patrick Mahomes is special in that way. I don't think he's the greatest of all time, even close. I think he's the beneficiary of being born into wealth. He is the 1%. We'll just say that. So I love you guys. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at this team that I have to keep watching year in and year out when they're not very impressive. That's fun to watch to you guys? Bunch of 10-yard catches? That's what you guys like? And we got the other team that just pushes their quarterback. Like, the game of football is so cooked. We're cooked, guys. Gone are the days of the pocket passer, slicing and dicing. The game that we love is gone. I'm not watching the Super Bowl.